Hello, this is Chris, also known as RoboGunner among a lot of people, and I decided to do a VOD review for the Saturday games of the 27th, featuring the Crab People and Strikers team. I want to do this because I was bored, and also because technically a coach for the Crab People. And I just want to point out some things that could be done by either team to make these games a lot cleaner and just to bring some content to the community itself. So, looking at drafts itself, pretty much everything's pretty good drafting on both sides. Bot lane for both sides is pretty good. Having a Kai'Sa and a Nautilus works out really well, considering the Nautilus can give extra plasma stacks to the Kai'Sa, which is really good, giving you some extra damage, also giving you more angles to ult from, and Lucian Yuumi is a very aggressive lane. Yuumi being paired up with things like Lucian or Sivir, it creates different playstyles, but the Lucian pick is pretty good to go with this. Jungles, Sedge and Kayn. Kayn kind of wins out in that matchup just because if you go red Kayn, you end up being a pretty good tank destroyer, almost kind of like a pseudo Aatrox in the jungle itself. Mid lane, you got Joshi on his Gragas, which is one of his main played champions, versus Swain. Personally, I'm not a huge Swain fan unless you can get your passive stacks off like a lot of the time. Sometimes you can't do that, so he feels still kind of weak on the current patch. But that's just me. And then with the Aatrox versus the Ornn, it's definitely one of those things where Ornn is supposed to lose that matchup, but become more relevant later on. And this is when the stream went down for the live guys. They're trying to figure out everything. So Aatrox should win that matchup by himself, while the Ornn tries to scale up being a tank. And from the looks of it, everyone is going to standard 5-point. The Yuumi has it connected, which I thought was really weird on why they didn't pause for that. I'm guessing it was just they ran out of timers or warnings and stuff, and so they thought that it's like, hey, we already gave you a chance, so you shouldn't be given another one. So you just got to play the 4v5, which kind of blows, honestly. It's just one of those things where it shouldn't be that way, just because no one wants to see a 4v5. But if you're looking at it right now, the Crab team doesn't actually know that's a 4v5 yet. They just haven't seen the Yuumi. But right now, the Lucian isn't really being zoned off of any CS yet. You see the Nautilus, in the corner trying to approach maybe, but he hasn't been zoned off of any XP or anything yet. And from the jungle routes that's been taken, basically the Kayn is going for the super XP route, where you go from your buff to Krugs. This is the highest XP gain you can get, which is really good because Kayn does need levels, so he can get more stats, and that way he can hopefully farm his passive a lot easier. Because Krugs actually have an XP nerf to them on level 1 clear because they're too strong. So if once you clear them out and you get to the second round where they level up, they're actually worth a lot of XP. Seeing this, we're having the Sedge go from red buff up to Wolves, probably going to go to the blue buff and then look for the Scuttle Crab. Depending on how the Aatrox plays the lane out, since it is pushing into him right now, he could actually have it come into him so that they can get the gank off on that. We'll see how that goes. I have seen these games, but a lot of them I just kind of skim through like 2 times speed. So getting some good trades in, this is kind of just how the lane works out. Getting a gank in mid, some anti-synergy right there, getting pulled out of the W, being able to avoid that pretty easily. Having those displacement abilities is always kind of annoying. Having around that is still 2v1. But if you look at it, the Lucian's not being zoned off of any XP because they're kind of pushing it, which is kind of not what you want. And if you're going to push it, what you need to do is you need to build up like a super wave, slow push it, and you need to do that and like dive. But they're not really doing that, so the Lucian's not missing out on too much XP. He's not really missing out on too many creeps either. So see how this goes. Yuumi reconnected, so be able to be down there. And I should be tracking that the Kayn is going this route, but I don't think they've actually looked into any of the camps or anything. But they should know that since Kayn usually starts red buff or chickens, that it should be on the bot side. They don't really actually have any wards at all, so this gank coming is going to be kind of a surprise. They're getting the Scuttle Crab and everything. They finally ward the River Brush, which is appropriate, but they're both at half HP. None of them are drinking any potions or biscuits, which is kind of bad. And they go for this all and land the hook's really good. Getting some harass off, which is also really nice. The Kai'Sa still isn't consuming anything. Does the flash, still gets hit by the W, and gets killed by the Yuumi. The Nautilus should be able to get out. Ignite kind of wasted. And no response from the Sejuani. The Sejuani kind of just comes to the river and sees that the Scuttle is there. Honestly, what the Sejuani should have done is look at the top side, see if there's any camps up, to see if he's behind anything, and then ward and then look to dive top, because top's losing pretty hard. And how this game should be looking right now is that, considering that you have Aatrox is one of the better laners into an Ornn who is not that great to begin with. It's a good flash. He might have died there with the Ignite. Was kind of low on mana though. But the jungler should really be paying attention to what's happening top lane, because this would be a really easy dive to do. Still not happening though. Up right here, gets caught. Has to blow his own flash. So, Ornn's getting bullied, which is expected, but this is also where you should really be calling up your jungle. You know, putting a ward on the Krugs, and trying to look for the dive and everything. The Aatrox hasn't put a ward anywhere either. He should be putting a ward on the Krugs or Tribush at the minimum. This is just because he might get ganked pretty soon, even though the Ornn's not at 6 yet, so not a lot of pressure for that lane to happen. This is kind of showing how Lucian Yuumi kind of acts, even with the DC'd from levels 0 through 3, where with the big wave, it's really hard for Nautilus to hit any hooks. And the Kai'Sa dies again without drinking any consumables. It's not good. If you're below half HP, like you can drink your potions. Like they're not gonna go to waste or anything like that. It lets you pressure position appropriately for that. Let's see. We get a gank from the Sejuani. It's really good. Theoretically, with enough CC, she will get some kills. But now they're kind of running out of damage. We get the hook back in. Aftershock proccing. Finally get the kill. Yumi's by herself. Might be pretty easy to get the kill here. Ignite's almost up. Like if they didn't blow Ignite earlier, they would have gotten the kill onto the Nautilus. All in possibly from the Aatrox, which would be really good. Doesn't get anything. Usually with your ult, you kind of want that for trying to get more healing, not really more damage. But still doing really well. Honestly, the mid laner or jungler should be roaming up to get a kill on this. You know, because if you think about it right, Gragas just roaming up with an ult, just pushing him back just a little bit. It's like when he just dies, and you just keep doing that and repeat. So yeah, I mean, mid lane's up 10 CS too. So it's just one of those things where it's like, hey, take 30 seconds out of your time and we can kill him. So bot lane is kind of in a rough situation because Kai'Sa's died twice. Not too far behind on CS, but you are in, you know, late game AD carry versus an early game combo, and you know that the early games winning, when a lot of that could have been prevented considering it was a 1v2. So mid lane keeps pushing, trying to keep him under tower, which is very good. But like I said, honestly, you should be pushing in and then looking to roam top. Like, that's the biggest thing about mid lane, is you don't really have to stay in your lane unless you're really again alt and just gets out pretty quickly, just using some cooldowns. But like, the point of mid lane isn't to like just dominate your laner, right? Like, that's one of the things you can do as a top laner, but like mid lane, you're in the middle of the game, literally. So you can influence other maps and everything. So it's definitely something that can be done. Not a lot of spacing because low in health. Not giving blue buff over, which could be fine considering Lost Chapter was built. Might have to be careful of the dive here, considering the Kayn is bottom. Kayn really hasn't done much ganking, which is kind of bad considering he needs the form relatively soon. Clearing out some pink wards. No one's paying attention to top lane at all, which is really bad because you keep getting kills there. Kai'Sa's by herself, which is kind of okay. As long as she can pick up this wave, it's fine. Then all else is going to ward. Getting some deep wards on the map, which is really good. King getting caught out. I don't think he's going to die here, though. Nope. Sedge was too low to begin with, and they don't exactly have the damage required to do any of that. So, considering that the Aatrox have been pushed the entire time, I'm surprised that either the Kayn or the Sedge haven't visited, because the Kayn can try to get free stacks for his passive up there, right? Because there's enough CC you could try to lock down the Aatrox. Also, Orin's low enough a lot of times. Looking like we're going for an all-in. Not seeing where the jungler's at, though. And here comes the jungle. Don't know if they needed the flash there. It was a good play by the Gragas. Getting the flash body slam. I don't know if we needed the flash from the Kai'Sa after the ulti. Maybe he thought that I needed the flash out of the range of the Kayn ult, which is definitely a thing. Gragas finds the Swain in the river. Gragas is still stronger than the Swain right now. Until the Swain, I think it's about 1 or 2 items. I think that matchup's still going to be in the Gragas' favor. Once again, panning up to top where the Orin's really low. This is definitely one of those things where it's free, uses the flash. Don't know if the flash was needed. It might have been, definitely. But getting a free dragon because Kayn's on the top side. They're giving up tower plates in bot lane, which might be wrong considering they're still pushed up. Everyone's coming up. So yeah, that was a mistake. Like, you just saw they took dragon. There was no reason to push up that way. I mean, the Orin's got TP, but he was dead. Aatrox also has TP, so you can follow up on that. So that was just overextension by the bot lane. A lot of kills so far. Going towards bot, just because of overextending and not positioning right, reading the map, not having appropriate wards. Looks like the Gragas is dead. Didn't really see what happened there. Let's see. Okay, so the Kayn's like trying to look for camps, seeing what's happening, just because his bot lane just died. Doesn't see any camps up, which makes sense because the Sedge cleared from top to bottom, and he's going for the gank onto the Gragas, and Gragas looks like he's like 80% HP, so he's pretty healthy. So this is pretty much just 100 to 0 here. I guess a little help from the Swain. Not too much, but Gragas is pretty squishy. Once again, we're just seeing top lane getting bullied still, with no influence from either jungler. Still a mistake. Now, this isn't just on the jungler, right? To read these, looks like the support got caught out trying to ward. It's gotten to the wrong spot. Right. It's also on the top laners themselves to call out this stuff, saying, "Hey, he's pushed up all the time. We can get you free ganks. I got a lot of CC. You need red form. Blah 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 blah." Also, the same thing is this guy's really low. We can dive him. We got enough CC and damage between the two of us. You're probably aftershock on the sedge plus your passive, things like that. So it's definitely a concern how this game could definitely be blown open through top lane, where if anyone saw any of the games from LCS, Aatrox can be a monster when gets ahead, which he is ahead, 40 CS, plus the solo kill is really good, but I mean, this is one of those things where it's very obvious where he could have like 3 or 4 kills, or it could be even further behind and everything, so it's just a missed opportunity, really. Kane's coming up to cover because the Orin's been caught up, gets knocked up on her tower, which is actually a really good instance from the fight. Nothing's happening. Let's see, gets knocked up again. This is also one of those things where, since your top laner is winning so hard, the jungler could look, and your mid lane's also pushing constantly, right? Like, this Swain hasn't really been outside from his tower. It looks like we're getting all in from the Kayn. Okay. Ooh, no, very close. Yorn didn't really get any assists there, so he didn't do anything. That was very close. It's one of those things where if maybe you position something differently, activate his ult a little bit sooner. Don't really know, maybe another tower shot. Here we go, here's the Swain again. Getting chunked, but these trades are getting a lot better, considering there's also a tower. We'll say it's a wave clear ulti. Gets the kill though, because they overstay, because there's no vision at all. The entire top side of the map is completely dark for both sides, which is a pretty big mistake, honestly. So, but yeah, since your top lane's been like crushing this lane, and your mid lane's been pushing, like the Rift Herald hasn't been looked at. We get a nice gank here. This is what Nautilus is supposed to do with the Yuumi lane, is literally just try to hook someone and kill them, which is really good. They get the tower, which is really nice, but like I said, it's really disappointing that the Rift Herald hasn't even been looked at. There's no wards on top side at all, so they don't know what anything could be happening. They get a tower in mid lane, so they got all the outer towers, is really good. This might be a little sketchy. Gragas needs to use his ult right now. Still dies, and everyone dies here because why does everyone die here? So they're trying to get the blue buff after already being low, right? So yeah, they're pretty low. They have no business taking this blue buff here because the jungler's here. Right, as soon as they see the jungler, they should leave, but they're already pretty low. The Swain's rotating around, getting the kill there, giving the Kayn a double kill, which is not good because Kayn does do really well with gold. It's not good. And we're finally getting Rift Herald. This is about like 3 minutes too late, honestly, because tower plates are down. Now, granted, they did get all the towers, but they could have gotten Snowball faster, obviously. But we're finally getting some wards on the top side from both sides, which is really good. Or mostly just from Striker's team with the Kayn and the Swain. The Yuumi Lucian bot lane is pretty behind, especially going Essence Reaver first. is kind of like it's an okay start. It's just one of those things where Blade Rune King is almost always the start you go, and then you go into either Essence Reaver or Black Cleaver. The Essence Reaver first is kind of an awkward start, but definitely something you can make work. It does make him scale better later on. He is the same CS, but he is down the 4 kills. And we get the kill on the cat, which is really good. This cat was trying to do some wards. Still not a lot of vision for the blue team. Kind of surprising. Getting a gank up in top lane with the Aatrox. He's able to flash the Ornn ulti, which is really good. And this is kind of the one thing that's really bad, is that the Ornn is so far behind that he can't tank up anything, and Swain doesn't have enough burst to kill the Aatrox fast enough before he heals. So it's definitely one of the things that also neither one of them have an Executioners, which should really be built. Some kind of Grievous Wounds needs to be built on both sides, because there is a Swain and then there's an Aatrox. So that's going to definitely be a pretty big thing, depending on what lane assignments are going to be like. Pushing up to the tower here. Honestly, the bot lane shouldn't be bot anymore. With this many towers gone, and a 5k gold lead, really should be looking to group up as 5, trying to get vision in the jungle, taking all the resources for the jungle, and then setting up a 4-1, because your Aatrox is super strong, right? So you don't need to be this split up anymore, right? And this is tragic. It's one of those things where if Ornn uses his ult to cancel the Rift Herald, then it's fine, but just being able to use a basic ability is pretty bad. Okay, so this is kind of fine. The issue is that so they get a kill on the Ornn, who was 0-2 already and super far behind, which is fine. But if you look at the positioning, right, you have Aatrox in top lane, who's going to have to TP here. Like, he should be TPing right now. Right? As soon as the Swain's walking over, he should be TPing immediately, right? The Kai'Sa is like super far away, but it could ult in, but it's not level 11, so the ult's not as far. And it's not going to be as impactful. So we should be having a TP from the Aatrox right now after this kill. And because everyone's collapsing, right? You have the Lucian right here, and the Kane's right behind him. So the Kane's actually right behind the Swain. So you get the kill onto the Gragas, right? Because the Gragas is the one that took turret aggro on the kill on the Ornn. So not the best, but we keep going here. Alright, this is the thing of where we communicated of, hey, Aatrox needs a TP in, but now this is the instance where it's like, no, we don't want TP anymore, but we can't cancel it, and he's dead. Right. So, gave up 2 kills, a whole bunch of momentum for this, which is really bad. Gold still is pretty good, it's 5k gold lead. Didn't get the mid turret, sadly. So it's definitely something interesting to think about. Right now, red team team 6 really needs to get some money onto the Lucian. Considering that's going to be your best consistent DPS right now. Swain's like decent for consistent DPS, but once his ult's down, not giving the red over to the Kai'Sa, not very good. Considering she does have the 5 kills and does utilize that buff pretty good. Don't know why Kai'Sa's bot. There's absolutely no reason if Kai'Sa bot. You don't have TP on Kai'Sa. right? Kai'Sa probably could 1v1 anyone on the team. Maybe not the Kayn. The Kayn probably couldn't. But there's no reason to be bot lane here. You don't have a TP anymore because you used it in that really bad play mid. So honestly, you should just be having the wave slow push and trying to set up vision around Baron and then try to get the mid and top tower. There's no reason to have the AD carry bot lane, especially with the camps coming up, so you know the jungler might be coming down there. So you do have some vision, which is nice, but there's no reason to have this be happening itself. Ornn's still super far behind. He's just there to provide an ulti, basically, and like the 2000 HP, whatever he has, as a meat shield. Have the Aatrox up against the Swain, which is perfectly fine. Swain's going for Azonia second, which is also fine. Considering he probably is going to be the primary person to be splitting against the Aatrox, just because it makes the most sense, has TP, heals a fair amount, and is just going to get pushed in infinitely by the Aatrox as the Ornn would. Ornn should honestly be going for a Warmogs next, so that if he gets chunked out, he doesn't have to worry about this. Fire over Pink Ward. Oh, this is really bad. This is bad. Okay. So, the person with the most kills in your team is still in bot lane. Right. So, there's that. And let's see how this works out. So they see this and they're like, well, we're fighting over this Pink Ward, this vision. It's like, alright, that's fine. The problem is the entire team 6 is here, right? You got 2 people over here, 1 person up here, 80 carries down here, and even Aatrox is pretty far behind. So this is basically a 3v5, maybe a 3v4 at best, depending on how far away some people are. But you're in this really short corridor in a 3v5 with Ornn ulti and Kayn, who I believe is going to land a double knockup and then just going to heal a bunch off of that and be able to ult someone, buying a lot of time. Right, where this is AP Gragas, where he wants to burst a relatively swishy person in a very short amount of time, and I don't think he gets the option to do that. Nope, he just gets his ult off and dies because he didn't have the chance to get anyone in range. Sedge and Nautilus just get ganged up on, and the Aatrox can't do anything in a 1v5. And Baron should be Team 6's here. So the issue here is, this is one of those things where you have to recognize how close your enemies are and how far away your friends are. So, yeah. Kai'Sa's coming over here maybe for a cheeky steal with the W. Honestly, you should just be pushing out the waves, right? Pushing out the waves so that the counter push from them isn't going to take as long, or it takes longer, and gets caught with both summoners. Alright, not good. So, dies both summoners, but it does delay the back, sort of. But now you have 30 seconds where you're not going to have your AD carry, and the gold lead has pretty much evened out. So, this is really bad. You're having a situation where Gragas is sort of falling off, like he's fine. If he's going to try to burst the Lucian, but that's about it, right? Like if you look at this, it's like he's probably not going to burst the Ornn because the Ornn's got some magic resist. He's not going to burst the Kayn because the Kayn's either going to heal and or he's got magic resist also. The Yuumi's going to be inside someone the majority of the time, so you're not going to be able to kill her. And And the Swain's got an Hourglass, so he can hopefully Hourglass the right time, and he's got a lot of HP probably from his passive. Right, it looks like he's got similar amounts of HP to Sedge. So, getting a nice fight here. See how this starts out. So the Sedge gets caught by the Swain E, gets pulled back. And Kane's going forward. Gragas gets caught. Alright, they should still keep backing up. Kane's overextended. Alright, we get a nice good pick onto the Kane. They should really wait out this Swain ulti. Because you don't have any ults left. You don't have a Sedge ulti, you don't have Gragas ulti, you don't have Nautilus ulti, and your Aatrox super far behind, so there's no reason to extend anymore. You got the free ulti, you got the kill. Goes in and dies because there's no one that can follow up on that, and it basically ends up being a 1v3. Ornn ulti comes back, hitting 3 people. It's really good. Aatrox is able to get the kill on the snapback. Still dies because he's not super far ahead. He doesn't have the second item completed. And there's just not enough damage left for that. Okay. So what happened here? Let's actually see what happened. Now mind you, this is all with Ornn still being 80 CS behind, right? Like, almost having double the CS still. Only has 1.5 items. Aatrox still doesn't have full items yet. Alright, back. Okay, so we get the nice snatch here, right? So we're trying to clear Baron waves, which is very respectable. Gets the nice snatch onto the Sejuani. Split targeting on red team, where instead of trying to W the Sedge, they W like out of. If you W the Sedge out of the queue right there, probably get the kill on the Sedge. But instead, we're trying to W the Gragas, who I think still has E. Yep, he just E's out. Kane's going in pretty deep. Gets stunned up, gets barreled out. Okay, so this is the point where better crabs win. Crab people, the blue team should. They just got a free pick essentially, right? You still have half health Gragas, less than half health Sedge, and your Aatrox is super far behind, right? He's a screen and a half away. You take this, you clear the minions, and you reset. Yuumi ulti and everything else, and Kai'Sa goes in 1v3. I don't even know if they had Rage Blade stacked up, and everyone's like, well, we gotta follow up on our Kai'Sa. This is where you don't follow up on bad plays that happen in a second. Following up on plays is always a good thing to do, regardless if it's good or bad. Because one is going to help with team mentality of where it's like, oh man, you didn't even try to help or whatever, but it's like you're following up and stuff. It's always good to do and try because it might work out. But like that just instantly happened and there was nothing you could do about it. So that team should not be following up there at all. Aatrox gets the kill on the Lucian, which is really good. Now he has cooldowns and is going to die. Now there's no damage left, so they're just going to try to get the last kill on the Yuumi. But the Yuumi can just hide, so there's no way that's going to happen. So there's an ace. Blue team's still ahead in gold, but just barely. Once they get like this tower or maybe some other stuff, this won't be a thing. So, yep. And the gold is pretty much evened out, and they'll be ahead in gold after this tower. So basically, with this, blue team still has a decent composition as far as fighting and everything goes. The big thing is that the Gragas really needs to be careful and needs to pretty much find the Lucian or the Yuumi somehow If not, then basically what's going to end up happening is he needs to get a very good ult, because he's not really going to burst anyone with his build and with the enemy team. So gold being even, see how this goes right now. The Ocean Drake's alive. No one cares about that. Baron's still going. What they need to do is they need to not be splitting up too hard and get some vision on some objectives. Gets a little bit more defensive vision in their jungle, because again they're going to be pushed in a little bit more. Let's see. Itemization is looking pretty good for the most part for everyone. I'm not a huge fan of the Lucian build. If you're just going to go pure crit, there's kind of no reason to play Lucian. Because it's a scaling build that doesn't really go on a scale. Like, Lucian doesn't scale that well. So you might as well go for a different thing. You get the ultimate from the Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa is still more ahead of the Lucian, so that 1v1 is very respectable. And we get the TP in, the late TP from the Ornn. And they should win this fight as long as Kai'Sa doesn't get focused. Swain's going in on the Kai'Sa. They need to protect the Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa dies though because Swain does too much AoE damage, plus the Yuumi. And yeah, the Kane's pretty strong still. We're just getting the situation where no one has, like, we have one person with Grievous Wounds, which is good, but they need to have more burst, or they need to try to kite out the Swain ulti, and that's not really happening. And like, your strongest player, one of your strongest players is not there. He's trying to fend off the Kayn. Honestly, what needs to happen is that the Gragas needs to ult away the Swain. We get another kill. Yep, we get a nice kill there. It's either this is what the AP Gragas can do, right? He finds the right target and he can 100-0 them really easily, which is really fine. The problem is that there's only 2 targets in the enemy team he's going to be able to do that to, and one of them is pretty much untargetable the entire time. So if he can't find the Swain, his value in teamfights goes down quite a bit. Getting the Ocean Drake, which is kind of fine. It's nice because it's making it so that their Elder Dragon later on becomes a nice win condition and a good trade for objectives. But what Gragas needs to do in these team fights is he actually needs to ult the Swain away, because the Swain's like the strongest person on the enemy team besides the Kayn. And the Kayn can always just dodge the Gragas ult with his ult, so the Swain's a lot easier to do once he ults. It becomes a big, massive drain tank damage machine. Especially if he has Yuumi on there, he's going to be a lot tankier with the Zhonya's and everything else too. So that needs to be the main priority for the Gragas, is just ult. Not really look for combo kills, but really look to ult. Get ult from the Ornn. Ooh, that was a good combo. So what happened there was the Kai'Sa got ulted by the Ornn, got knocked up by the Ornn ulti, and then it got pulled back by the Swain, which is a really good combo and really hard to avoid in this situation. Getting the free kill, the Baron's up. Red team should definitely be going over there. Blue team could think about trying to steal Gragas ult, but straight up team fight is going to be pretty impossible. I don't think they get caught here. Their only damage being the Aatrox. That was not going to go well. Alright, so only have one blue trinket. We have a yellow trinket on the Gragas, which is fine. But alright, so what needs to happen here is they're all clumped up together, right? There shouldn't be the way it is, because they probably all assume that they're all on the Baron buff, which is definitely a thing, but they don't exactly do Baron the fastest. I Alright, you have a semi-underfed Lucian, and you have Swain, who like doesn't do objectives that fast. You have Kayn, who does objectives okay at a rate. So you can definitely check with Gragas barrels, and also going this way, the way they are, is one of the most dangerous because there's more bushes involved. And so we got okay. So and then they get hit by the knockup, and there's really not much they can do. Gragas needs to ult this immediately, trying to disengage. He ults afterwards and doesn't hit anyone. When he dies by the Kayn, half of their damage is gone, and so it's all on the Aatrox, who then dies to the AoE damage, and the game is over. So this should be over, honestly. No way that they can just end the game here, I'm pretty sure. Basically, this game kind of came down to certain mistakes happening. Taking the fight around Vision here was super bad. With bad TP play, since you can't cancel TP anymore, sucks. Yeah, and also not playing around top lane, which was really important. If you have a stronger top lane, you need to try to abuse that. If you're not going to, you really do need to, yeah. If you're not going to try to abuse the top lane there, in that situation, you need to make it where your top laner is in such a bad state where he's not going to be much help in team fights. It is orange, so he does offer the ult, but keeping the split push in the 4-1 would have been super beneficial, considering the Aatrox was super far ahead at the time before any of these big mistakes came through, and that would actually have made the game a lot smoother that way. So basically, for blue team needed to look for trying to snowball top lane a little bit more, being aware of where your champions are,